Thank you very much, Senator Cantwell. Senator Murkowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I always like to talk about things that we do share in common because I, as you know, have a great deal of affection for the Tongass, all of our national forests, but recognize the extraordinary potential that we have in our forests, and recognizing that multi-use is not an inconsistent policy to have when it comes to our national forests. And that means everything from the very important recreation and tourism to also the economic opportunities that we have for our communities that rely on our forests, and that sometimes it does require a level of access. And as you have pointed out, Mr. French, it's not a requirement that you build a road. It just allows, it recognizes there are different restrictions that are appropriate, and there are many restrictions in the Tongass existing, and will continue with or without application of the roadless rule. I didn't come here to talk about roadless. I want to talk about S 2016, the Chugach Alaska Land Exchange and Oil Spill Recovery Act. Thank you for including this on the agenda. I'd hope we might get the our landless bill on as well, but maybe next time we will do that. Actually, we're working on the full committee, so I think it's not on this subcommittee, so thank you for that. I don't need to go into old history here, and really tragic history, but it was 1989 when the Exxon Valdez oil spill occurred, one of the worst environmental disasters in our history. It hit the Chugach region incredibly hard, nearly wiped out the traditional ways of life of Alaska Native people who are so tied to the land and the sea there. And 35 years later, both the people and the environment are still reckoning with that. Government tried to step in. Sometimes those efforts caused another set of problems. Back in 2019 in the Dingell Act, I included a provision that required the Interior Department, along with the Forest Service and Chugach Alaska Corporation, to review the long-term impacts of the spill and the recovery actions that followed. And one of those measures was a land buyout that was overseen by the Exxon Valdez Oil Spill Trustee Council. So surface lands from Alaska Native Village corporations were purchased. They were divided up among the federal agencies and placed under strict conservation rules. But the subsurface, the part that Chugach Alaska owns, was left unresolved. And we've seen over time our village corporations had to take steps that they had to deal with given the economic situations, and sold some of their lands. But Chugach, as the regional corp and the owner of the subsurface, was not part of that process. And so they're left to navigate this split estate issue with the federal government, which for decades has resulted in regulatory obstacles that undermine the promise that Congress made under the Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act. And so we're in a situation now where I don't think it's right. The federal government cannot ignore Chugach and the Alaska Native people. We've got a responsibility to make this right here. So what we have with this legislation is not a financial settlement. The federal government owes Chugach land in their region, land that they're entitled to under ANCSA. The Native people who call this region home want the land because it's their connection to it that is what matters. This is what is deep and enduring. The EVOS buyout resulted in a significant loss of Native ownership. More than 241,000 acres were placed under federal control, and that has diminished Native voices and the ability for Native people to shape the future of their homelands. So what we're trying to do now is to fix that. You can call it land back, if you will, but to me, I think it's just about honoring commitments. I think it's time to stop treating Native communities in Alaska differently from Native communities in the lower 48 when it comes to federal land issues. So what we offer in this bill, I think, is a win-win. It directs a balanced land exchange between Chugach, Alaska, and the federal government that addresses the Dingell Act report's findings. It permanently protects the conservation lands, and it finally gives Chugach and its shareholders a fair resolution to their ANCSA claims. I might note, to the chairman and the ranking member here, the House Natural Resources Committee has advanced a companion to this bill. They did that last month on a bipartisan basis, so hopefully we'll be able to do the same here in the Senate. I'm going to direct a quick question to you, Mr. French. In your testimony, you say that the Forest Service supports the intention of the bill and are looking forward to working with us to resolve any issues, on the parcels identified in the bill for exchange that perhaps were not originally identified in the 2022 study and report. So I would hope that we could count on you to be engaged quickly and in a responsive manner. So if there are any outstanding issues, we can address them and get this bill moving to resolve, again, a very, very long outstanding issue.
Yeah. Thank you, Senator. Yeah, we completely support the bill. I commit that I will sit down with your staff rather quickly to work out where we see those issues.
Great, great. Thank you. Mr. Raby, you're in agreement there?
Senator Murkowski, yes, 100% agreement.
Great. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you
Chairman.
very much. Senator Cortez Masto?
Thank you.